So in my last electronics video, I talked about LEDs and I showed off some props. I showed off a string of lights, my arc reactor, and and that's all cool because, but that's the end result. That's that's from here to here to here to here to here and done. So I thought for the next video in the electronics series, which hopefully is going to last for quite a while, I'm going to talk about how to program and just make a light blink on an Uno. Greetings, Dave here, DCPFX. So this is the second video and hopefully a series of many about electronics and what I've learned in my travels playing around with them. I read the Arduino book from Arduino. Actually, it was a Make magazine. It was a great one. Make had a great on how to do that. And I just read that and other books on Arduinos to sort of figure out how to do this. So I've done some fun projects. So let's get right down to the nitty gritty. So I'm going to switch over to another view and we're going to go through a few little things on setting up and programming Arduino. All right, so I'm just going to get started here with some Arduino things, some real basic stuff. So you're going to get the Arduino, the IDE. You're going to download it directly from arduino.cc. And I'm just running a quick sketch on here using the internal LED. We'll take that one off for right now. So there is an LED right on the board. Power obviously coming in, and it's powered off the USB because that's how I'm going to program it as well. But I just basically told it to blink this. What we're going to do is we're going to recreate that, and then we're going to change it up a little bit. So when you open up the IDE, first thing you want to do is you want to set your board. So the board manager comes up with various things. I already have the Uno selected because that's what I'm using. The next you want to set is what port you're using. So I'm using the USB modem port. So that's just what I'm using that works best for me. So what I have on here right now is a simple sketch that is running. It's just blinking. The LED on the board is on port 13, which that'll come up in a second, but it does come with a simple LED right off the bat, so you can do something to test it. So let me just hop into the Arduino developments, and we will add we'll change the program on here. So we go up here to examples. There comes a bunch of basic examples. Get started with it. We'll go to basics and to blink. And the blink is already set up to use pin 13, which is on the board, and it's set to do 1,000. So it's waiting basically a second, so it turns it on. So here, going through the sketch, we set port 13 or pin 13 as an output, which means give power to it. And then we're going to have a little loop here that's going to run forever. That first it goes to pin 13 and sets it high, waits a second, and then makes it low and waits a second. So I'm going to just add this here, so we'll submit that. And now we see it's blinking a little bit faster than it was before because I changed the variables. So I can go in and I can change that again. So if I go back here and I change this, say, to 500, so half a second between. And then upload that to the board. Now we look at it here. It's blinking faster. Now that's just one. That's the basic one on it. What you can also do is you can add other ones to it. So this is going to get into a little bit more, well, not really terribly complicated, but we're going to add another LED to this board. We're going to change that. So rather than using this one on the board, we're using another one. So you take your LED and you take your LED here. So this is just simple. The LEDs come in, you've got two ends. The longer one is the positive and the shorter one is the ground. So if we can get that so you can see those. Anyway, so we take it right on the board here and we would just take the longer end. We'll put it into 12 and put the ground into ground. Now, if you're going to do more LEDs, you'd probably want to use like a breadboard, which is it's a free-form way of adding LEDs, and you would add resistors. I'm not going to add a resistor onto this because there already is one on the board. The board's pulling in the amount of electricity it needs, but if you're making a circuit and say you're putting in a 9-volt battery and you don't overwhelm the circuit, so you put in resistors so it doesn't pull too much through. So if I take this now and I'm going to modify the sketch, so I take this, I'm going to change this from 13 to 12 because that's what we're plugged into. Change that to 12, change that to 12. I'm going to change this time down to 250. And this one to 250. And now we're going to upload that to the board. Now we're going to notice very quickly that's the problem. So look, you make a mistake and that's what happens. So what I've done is I said turn it on, and then I didn't put in the 12, I only have 1. So it just came on, it didn't go off because it didn't tell it to go off. So now if I corrected that and we add that through, now we're going to see here, made the light blink. So you can do that with more. Like I said, you'd want to do that with some resistors because you're going to take this off the board and do that. But really that is essentially, that's getting started. It really is a simple environment to work with. And also too, if you look in the examples, there's so many different examples to get started. You've got various analog outputs on here as well. You've got a button, you've got a blink with a delay, you've got other things you can add. And that's something we'll get into. There's a lot you can do with that you don't want to use delays, you want to use other things. I was teaching that once at one of the events with their prop party. People go, well, what if I just put in a wait? Well, then it shops everything. And we'll talk about that later. So that is basically, that is getting started with the Arduino IDE to learn how to program microcontrollers. So that's video 1 or video 2, I guess, on electronics, and that sort of helps get you started. Moving forward, I'll break out some breadboards and we'll add some more LEDs, and I'll show you how to set up the different blinky lights. Things like my steampunk pad I showed off in a previous video, which had the different variations of lights. There's easy ways to do that and there's hard ways to do it. As I said, people talk about, well, what about a wait command? What about this command? It just puts everything on hold. You don't want that. So we'll come up with a different way of doing that. So thanks for stopping by. Hope everyone's doing well, and we will talk at you later.